Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the dumbest gatekeeping comments that I see all the time from other developers. And maybe you shouldn't listen to them if you see these. Okay, so let's go in, let's get started. So, the first one that we're going to start with is the programming language troll. This is something that you're going to see all the time. Like PHP is dead, Ruby on Rails is dead, Java is old, .NET is old, right? These are some of the things that you're going to see online. And I'm going to be honest with you, right? It's all BS, right? PHP is a great language. Ruby on Rails is a great framework. Java and .NET are amazing in enterprise level companies, right? And then at the same time, like those languages have jobs, which is what we should all care about. And at the same time, the competition is low. So I would think that's what somebody will pay attention to, but I guess not, right? So you're always going to bump into the programming language troll. And sometimes those type of people will try to sway you into whatever programming language they're into or whatever framework that they're into. Like, hey, you should come and learn some Vue.js, or hey, you should come and learn some Node.js and some React only, or maybe you know what you should do. Whatever you're doing, stop whatever you're doing and just start learning Flutter, right? Like you're gonna find people that just pop up out of nowhere, posting things like that, and just know, man, that's the early gatekeepers, right? The guys that's trying to just tell you, hey, you only need to learn this, and if you're not learning this, you're actually not a good developer, right? So yeah, don't listen to those guys. Another one is you can't get a job with HTML and CSS. Crickets, right? I hear this all the time. People come in and be like, well, you cannot get a job with just HTML, CSS. You need to go down the line and literally learn everything that you see on the web developer roadmap for you to be able to get a job. There's about 50 to 100 skills in there, right? And most people will say, this is everything that you need to learn to become a developer. And that's not true. You can actually get hired with just HTML and CSS. There's a lot of jobs that's out here that will hire you for that. You got HTML emails, you got web administrator, you got content editor, you got product editor, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, right? I'm going to put a link below on this video so you guys can go watch my other videos where I talk about how you could get hired with just HTML, CSS. Okay. So the idea that you have to master everything before you start making some money as a developer is BS. Okay. There's a position for everybody. All right. It's like a basketball team, right? A team needs to have a star player to shoot 3-pointers, the guy that goes in and dunks all the time. But guess what? They also need a guy to go in and get the rebounds. They also need a guy that is good at passing, right? And there's a role for everybody. It doesn't matter at what level you're at. If you understand the basics of web development, there's a job for you. So don't listen to when people tell you you got to learn all of these things. It's like, nah, that takes time and it could take you years to learn everything. But that doesn't mean you got to be at home sucking on your thumb without a job and making no money. Because at the end of the day, then you just have a hobby. Another thing that I'll be seeing is when you see other developers like trying to downplay other developers like jobs or companies that they work at, right? Or when people try to say, well, if you don't work at Fang, then you're actually not really that good of a developer, right? Or when they try to say, well, if you work at Fang, you're so much better than everybody else. And in reality, it's not true. Okay. Working at Google, Facebook, Amazon, etc., right? Like those are great companies, but they don't validate the level of skills that you have as a developer at all, right? Those are companies that are well established, have great business models, and have made a lot of money. And they have great benefits. Let's be honest, right? And great benefits and great pay. But at the same time, let's not try to disqualify the companies that's out here. I mean, if you work at Nike, you're making top dollar. If you work at Adobe, you're making top dollar. If you work at Bloomberg, you're making top dollar. You work at Shopify, you're making top dollar. Shoot, you work at I don't know, Vogue, you're making top dollar. You work at Zappos, you're making top dollar. Shoot, you work at Yahoo, which is a company that used to be one of the biggest in the world and in the tech field at one point, but people are still working there and they're making top dollar. Okay. So this idea that only in Fang, right, you're making the most money and they only have the best of the best is actually BS, right? Is BS. I want to say the word, but it's just BS. Okay. There's a lot of people that's out here making way more money than guys that work at Fang and have more successful lives than a lot of the guys that I've seen in some of those companies, right? Also, to work-life balance is more important than you getting a little badge, right? I've seen guys that work at Fang, especially Amazon, they look miserable. They sound miserable. I've met a couple of them that they don't sound like they're having a good time at that company. Okay, so I'd rather have a better lifestyle, right, and work-life balance than me just trying to get a badge when I can make the same money in another company that would treat me pretty damn good, and I don't have to be busting my balls to be doing all the work that some of these guys do. Okay, again, I just want to say, like, if somebody's trying to downplay the company that you got an offer to or you're working at, like, guys, that's irrelevant. That's 100% irrelevant. And if somebody's trying to say, well, you don't work at Fang because you're not a good developer, that's also BS. There's plenty of people that do not work at freaking Fang, have never worked at Fang, right? And have successful companies. I don't know about you guys. I'd rather go in and pay attention to the guys that are owning companies than the guys that's just looking to work for a company. Okay. So again, that's something that I want to bring up. All right. Another gatekeeping comment that I see out here is when people say, if you don't have a computer science degree, you're not a real engineer. If you don't have a computer science degree, you're not a real developer. If you don't have a computer science degree, you're not good. And I've seen this plenty of times. And I could tell you right now, guys, that this is another one that's straight up BS. Okay. A lot of times when I see people say things like that, I can see that they're insecure. I can see that they're upset. I mean, imagine this. Imagine you go to college, you get a degree, you get yourselves in debt, right? You go to whatever university or community college you went to, right? And then now you're going to all of these jobs and you're applying to, all of these different type of jobs and that's out here. And guess what? You have thousands of dollars in debt, right? And there's a guy that showed up with a Udemy course and he's right next to you. He paid $10. He paid $20. He took a course on codingphase.com for, I don't know, $30, and he was there for 2 months and and now he's going for the same position as you. And somehow he gets the position, right? That could get you upset, right? Also, too, it could get you upset if you're in the other side of the table and you're interviewing people and you're like, well, I had to go to college for 4 years. I'm sure I got a master's. Why do these guys get into the game without having to have a degree? Right? I can see people get upset at that. But again, this is where that gatekeeping comes in. Like, you don't need a degree. I don't need a piece of paper that tells me I'm a developer and I can code. Because if I can code, if I can build, right, the solution to whatever problem it is that I'm facing, I'm good. I don't need to do nothing else. I don't need a piece of paper, right? This reminds me of, like, in the world of IT, right? A long time ago, I used to be in the world of IT. I actually went to school to be an IT worker, right? And I could tell you right now that it seems like when you're an IT worker, people always tell you, you need a certification for this. You need a certification for that. You need a certification for this. You need a certification for that. And it's all BS. Because when you go in and you start asking the people that's above you, or the people that's next to you, most of them don't even have those certifications. So once you're in, you actually realize, holy shoot, like you don't need all of these things. Like I got a certification for this, and that for no reason. I spend thousands of dollars on this certification for no reason. Right? It's the same thing that happens here in the tech industry for developers. You'll see people that will come in and tell you, hey, you need to have a computer science degree. And in reality, you don't. If you can do the job, you could get hired. If you can pass the interview and you can demonstrate that you have the skills that the company needs, guess what? You got a job. Okay. It's that simple. It's not like out of this world. It's not like something completely different. It's just, do you have the skills? Can you do the job? And are you a good worker? That's it. Ta-da! Right? So don't listen to anybody that tells you you need a computer science degree, because you don't. Okay? Most of the time it is usually of their own insecurities and their own bitterness, where now because they have a degree in computer science, they feel like they think they know like more than you, and in reality they don't. And sometimes they feel insecure about the fact that they had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, and now they got to see you in there, and all you had to do was just take like a course online and maybe watch a couple of YouTube tutorials, right? Like it happens, right? It's that real. If you like this type of videos, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click on the description of this video, and check out some of the links that I have there for you guys. Okay. Anyways, man, it's your boy Joe back at it again, codingphase.com, Shopify developer. I'll see you guys later. Peace.